Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Vitality Chat. Today, we have the honor of talking to Ashley DeLitowitz, who is a friend of ours, has been a patient of ours, is an advocate for children's health, and we are so excited to have her here. She's going to be teaching one of our courses for parents and other healthcare providers, and we're so excited to have her join with her vast amount of experience and knowledge. So welcome, Ashley, and thank you for joining us today.
Yes, welcome, Ashley. I'd like to introduce you as also a mother of five and bring a vast experience of parenting from all different age groups. So thank you, Ashley, for joining us. And if you wouldn't mind just taking a minute to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience with cranial distortions and all the things that you're going to be sharing with our population.
Sure. Thank you, Marty and Nancy, for having me. It's been a journey since we met way back in 2019. And it has been really remarkable to see how our life has totally shifted since we discovered chiropractic care. And this course is really going, I think it's for as far as I know, and I'm pretty well researched, it's the gold standard course for parents who are looking to know what is common and what is normal. And for everybody out there who might have that little sinking feeling in their stomach, like, I don't really know, is this right? And they're looking at other kids and they're looking at their kid, and not that we want to compare because everybody's on their own developmental path, but there is definitely a path, right? And
Absolutely.
we're not getting that guidance from the people that we would really hope to get it from. And so I wasn't anyways. And, and I went to my grandmother, to try to find out more. She had 7 kids, my mom being the one girl and the 6 brothers.
Wow.
And so I would sometimes ask my grandmother, and, my grandmother told me, she said, Ashley, in her voice, she said, Ashley, they would take me away in the paddy wagon when I would have a baby and put me under ether. And so that was my grandmother's birth experience. And all of that started kind of back then. And, I think we're trying to reverse the trend, and we're going to now to see, like, what can we do to support the body in healing in its own natural way. And I think that chiropractic, hands down, has been the most effective way to do that. And so it's really vital that this information gets shared with the public, because I only stumbled upon it because there was a woman who was courageous enough at a gathering that we were at to come up to me, and Joel was sleeping in his bucket seat with his helmet on, and which is a no, like triple no. And she said to me, hey, what's going on with your kid?
She's a very courageous person to do that.
And I'm like, well, it's a long story. And she said, hey, I know somebody who I think you should talk to. And of course, that person was Dr. Katina Manning, who's into BGI, and she's down where you are in Duxbury, same town where we're from.
Right.
And so that's where it all started. And when she met my son at the time, she said, we got to send you to Dr. Marty, because this brachycephaly is crazy. It needs some help. And the helmet is not the be all end all, right? It is not the be all end all. So that's the other bit of information.
I think you bring up such a really good point. I mean, it's like parents just don't know where to go, and and there's just so much misinformation or lack of information. So it's really wonderful that some courageous person had the wherewithal to come up and say something to you, and then it started the journey. But how would you recommend other parents, like as you're going to be a voice for our parents, like how would you recommend that we reach out more, and where to reach out? Because I know you have set up some study groups, that you're very active in your community. You're very dedicated to sharing your knowledge that you learned, I would say, not necessarily the hard way, but in a difficult way. It didn't, it wasn't there for you right away, the information.
No, the information wasn't there. I feel like being under chiropractic care caught our family up to speed with a lot of what we call the salutogenic principles, and how we can heal the body and allow the body to to support itself. And so I think community gathering is really powerful. And I think we've really gotten away from that after COVID.
Mhm.
You know, I was speaking to a lactation person who, in a podcast that I was getting interviewed, and I said, what happened to the lactation groups? You know, that was a place where I was able to find community and understand and be supported by professionals and by other women who had maybe some experience as well, you know, some difficult experiences, and everything kind of got shut down. And so I'm hosting now something called Mighty Milestones, where we take in speakers. We handpick these speakers who I really feel have great knowledge that's complementary to the salutogenic model. And we try to get that information to parents. And so, you know, people kind of stumble across it usually when they find somebody else who they trust and they can confide in.
Right. Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I think trust is a big factor for sure. And
I think the factor is too that people, and you even touch this and we touch on it all the time, is the whole common normal thing. It's like we're now making more and more excuses for dysregulation, for dysfunction, for neurodiversity. And not that it doesn't exist and not that it's there, but to basically embrace it in a way that it's going to become the new norm. For me personally, I think it's a dangerous precipice to step over. It's like, yeah, we need to embrace these children, these people. We need to help and work with them, but not to accept it as a norm and just see the numbers keep increasing and the percentages increasing. If they literally keep increasing at the rate they are now, in 30 years, it's going to be 1 out of every 2 children is going to have some kind of neuro issue or neuro challenge. And that's going to be a burden to society overall, and not even to those future generations. So
yeah,
I think it's really important to point out that, we can help, we can support this, we can move these kids forward and not have to just embrace the fact that this is who they are. They can reach a different level of potential.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the one thing that I decided that I wasn't going to accept, especially when we came to the office with my older son, who was having those neurodevelopmental issues. He was having a speech delay. People don't know off the top of their heads that chiropractic care can support speech delay.
Mm-hmm.
I had studied speech pathology.
Right.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Right.
That is a problem.
Exactly.
It needs to be solved. And there's so many different angles and ways that you can come in to support these kids.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that chiropractic is the big one. And I've, been experimenting with all of my kids down the line, because now I have 4 biological kids. I have my stepson as well. Mm-hmm. And with my youngest, that mm-hmm. he wasn't meeting the cross crawl.
Right.
He wasn't cross crawling. And I saw that with Alexander, my oldest. Mm-hmm. And I said, ooh. And mm-hmm. I reached out to you and I said, what do we do? I mean, let's get on an airplane. I got to go see you. And then 10 days after his adjustment with you, he started to cross crawl. Yeah. I mean, that is remarkable. That mm-hmm. is, we want to catch these kids in those first 12 months. We mm-hmm. have to catch them. There needs to be a better understanding, and that has to be communicated to parents. And I feel what I am really encouraged about is there's even something called Music Together, which was excellent for Alexander. Because I think at the time, and this is maybe around the same time we were working together, but when we first started to work together, that musical entrainment was so huge for his speech development. And there's a woman here in Black Mountain nearby where we are in North Carolina, and she is actually studying. So these music programs are now bringing the neurodevelopmental piece in.
That's so important.
She wants to collaborate,
That's amazing.
So, awesome.
That's amazing.
That's why this course is important for
sure.
having those other community members as well who are touching children's lives
for sure.
to know.
We all need to have a common language to understand what we're looking at. And so if you are working in the speech world or the music world or the physical world or whatever you're working with, as long as we're looking at the same markers and working in the same direction, we can change a lot of children's lives.
I think what's really unique about you, and as always did, we've been in practice a long time. We've seen a lot of patients, parents come and go, and some stay. I think what you've embraced in it, because probably it spoke to you, and I think what's really important, not just in the chiropractic model, but in healing these kids, is the salutogenic model, is the model that understanding that the body can heal itself. I was thinking about it the other day, how the people who get and who make some of the biggest leaps in their healing process is those who understand the ability to trust the body, that what we're doing is supporting the body to do things. And then when we support it, miracles can happen, whether it be speech delays, whether it be dysregulation, whether it be flagellopathy, brachiocephaly. Hey, whatever the issue is, it's not the symptom that's the thing that we're focusing on. It's the ability of the body to adapt. And as we increase the adaptive mechanism, then the body can heal. And you really embrace that. You understand that the things you always do with your children is to support their nervous system. It's not, oh, my kid has a limp, so I'm going to work on their right leg. My kid has a speech, you're going to support their nervous system and their ability to function. I think that's what salutogenesis is about, is trusting the fact that the human body has an innate potential to heal and doing things to support the overall general healing and raise the ability of the body to compensate and adapt.
And I think that what that does, it widens the lens. So like you were talking about how you were working with speech. It's like, so you're in a speech pathology program. Their lens is very narrow. It's an important program, but it's very narrow. So you only look through that lens and therefore you miss many other things. And I think that's true for some more medically oriented models. Their lens has to shift and has to broaden, because if a mother brings their baby because they intuitively know something is off, and the people they're going to do not have a broader lens, they will say, let's wait and see. Let's see what happens by the time they're 18 months or 4 or 6 or whatever it is. And they miss those very crucial developmental years, especially that first year of life when the nervous system is growing so rapidly and the brain is growing so rapidly. So I think it's great that we broaden our lens, that we give the information as it is. Because, I was a mother in the 80s. Things were different in the 80s than they are now. But there are things that are exactly the same. And that is how the body develops, how the brain develops, how the nervous system develops, knowing those cues, knowing the developmental milestones, understanding how it is meant to be, and then supporting that. And that's really what we're about. It doesn't really matter where you live or what your resources are. That happens everywhere. And so I really appreciate, Ashley, you embracing not only this for your own children, but being such an advocate for the health of all the children, because we all know as a community, we have to, if the community is made up of unhealthy people, it doesn't matter how healthy you are. So I think that's really amazing. Anything else you'd like to share maybe about your personal journey, like a real...
Well, who you are.
Yeah, I'd like a little more about who you are. And we know that you're a mother of 5 and that you live in North Carolina, but share a little bit about some of the work that you do and your little bit about your background that led you to embrace this so easily.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had the speech pathology thing on the back burner because I hadn't finished graduate school yet, and I was going to, and I reached a situation with my oldest son where I realized he needed support. I was in this meeting, which if you're a parent who has a child with special needs, it's like this, like, dun, 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 you're in this and you're, surrounded by all these experts, and they're basically saying there's something going on with your kid. You need to do something about it. And so it lit a fire in me, and I knew I needed to do something, and I knew nothing at all. And so I went 0 to 100, and I'm like, let's keep going and let's blaze this path, and let's get resourced. And I'm so glad that these people were put in my path and that I listened. And you have to be open-minded, I think, as a parent, to always learn and to keep learning. And when I work with parents as a parent-child coach, and I'm teaching them that their first thing that they need to do is really listen to their instincts, and to continue to follow up and to question, and besides that, to know that they are the expert. So no matter what your healthcare provider is saying, if they're saying, oh, they're just going to grow out of it, the flat spots in their head, and no big deal. And, oh, well, maybe the speech is a little bit low right now. And I mean, here I am, I studied it and I knew that there was something going. And it's like, no, don't worry about it. The kid's going to outgrow it. It's going to be fine. And so there's a lot of, you have to realize too, that those healthcare providers, they see some kids maybe who are a lot more profound than your kid, but just because your kid is less profound doesn't mean they're going to have an easy time.
Very good point. Very good point.
Yeah, we don't want to wait till somebody bleeds out to fix the wound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, the medical profession is really an expert at emergency care. You know, you have a, you have a limb that's needs to be connected. No one does it better, so yeah, but you don't want to compare that. There's a big continuum, and it's certainly supporting your children in that continuum it's very important. So Ashley, we're really excited that you're going to be leading the cranial distortion and being the voice for the parents. We're very excited to have you on board. How can, for those of people that don't know you, how can people get in touch with you if they wanted to know a little bit more about your coaching program or about your milestone groups? How can they reach out to you?
Sure. You can reach out to me. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook at the Conscious Child Coach, and you can reach me at theconsciouschildcoach.com
Awesome.
for my email. And I'm happy to support, and I'm very excited for what we can do together.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we are so happy to have you on board, and we're looking forward to a great course. So thanks, Ashley.
Thanks for joining us today, Ashley. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
You too.